there's always concern there, but we were right in the middle of it, so it's probably going to affect us a little bit more. Obviously, great news, as we were leaving, that he was talking, and so that was all positive. I got home last night and I watched Lindy's press conference. You can see there was still a lot of emotion in Lindy. But the things that I heard him say, just talking about how when he came to, that he wanted to know how much time was left on the clock and he wanted to get back and play. And to me, it's surprising, but not surprising, because he's a hockey player. And so us being a part of it and being there, the good news is he's stable. He's doing well. Yeah. So as us, we just gotta move on, and that's it might be a little bit easier said than done, but we can't use it as an excuse. We can't use it as anything else. Part of our job is playing pro sports, is getting ready for the next game, and being able to put tough defeats behind you, tough situations behind you, which last night was, and focus and getting ready for this game against Detroit.
Is this type of refocusing different from after a loss or after a trade?
It is, because this is life. It's not it's not hockey. And we play for wins and losses, and there's a lot more than that happened last night that could have happened. That we might be talking about a different story. So it is different. It is different. I don't want to say it's the same thing. Don't want to come across as saying the same thing. Obviously, when health is the concern, that is the concern. Hockey is secondary. But again, positive news coming out. So it's a little bit easier to try to refocus and get ready.
Is there any concern on your part based on, you're right in the middle of a playoff race, you're right in the middle of a serious hunt, and you've got your opponent who you're closest to in the standings here, and you want to be ready. You got to be on top of your game here.
Some of the playing Detroit and this being such a big game might make it easier for us too. We talked about, I think Sean asked me a question, this is prior to our Dallas game, about this. It was going to be a tough back-to-back game, and it was going to be a tough back-to-back game. But I think some of it probably helped that we were playing the Detroit Red Wings. If you're playing a team that you don't really have much of an attachment to, or emotional attachment or history with, I think those are tougher games to play. And take a look at the standings, you're both right there. Again, it might be a little bit easier to get ready and get focused for this game. At least it should be.
Any indication from the league as to when you might make it up, or what format that might take?
I have not heard anything. Haven't heard a thing.
When you look at the schedule, do you see any opportunity to stick one in there other than after the season?
There's not a lot of time. There's not a lot of time. I think there's maybe 2 days for us, and I don't even know what Dallas's schedule is, right. And I don't even know what the availability of the building is.
Right.
So there's lots of issues. The Mavericks play there. I'm sure it's much like every other NHL building around the league. There's other events that go on there. So again, there's lots of things that have to kind of fall into place.
Neutral site, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. I don't know what the options are.
Lineup changes tonight, or do you stick with the same lineup?
Be same lineup. Bob will start. That's the only difference.
What's Atkinson's situation? This would seem a game where skill has room to bloom. Is he just waiting until someone plays in a way that...
I've liked the way our team has played the last, 66 minutes, 65 minutes, whatever it was. Played a really hard game in Nashville against a really good team, and I really liked the way that we started the game last night. I think having Trop and Como in the lineup has provided a real positive spark for our team, energy and some physicality. And I think the rest of the team has responded to that.
Any update on Tootin?
Skated today, feeling much better. He did some battling, so I still don't know how that went. That was kind of the next step, to get in some pushing and shoving out on the ice. And if that goes well, he'll skate tomorrow. A little bit of the same thing, and then we'll get him into the morning skate on Thursday against San Jose. He won't play against San Jose. At least he'll start doing some drills with the team, and then I guess there's an outside chance of him in Minnesota.
Did Dan Heiner do the pushing and shoving?
No, Dan. We keep him off the ice. That we save Dan when it gets really serious, because Dan will go out and really test them then.
Todd, one other thing on Rich. I know he played for you for a couple of seasons. Have you reached out to him at all?
I have not. I was just trying to stay in contact. Tom Holy, who works for the Dallas team, I worked with him in San Jose, so I knew, and I ran into Tom down in the hallways right outside the locker room and was really asking him questions. Rich has got a lot more important people in his life than a former coach right now, but obviously thought about him a lot over the last 12 hours, whatever it's been. And everyone was affected in that. And anybody that has kids and, as a coach, and, everyone was affected by it. So it was great news to hear. At least there's always clouds, and you're always wondering what's happening. When you hear positive news like that, at least it eases your mind a little bit. But we'll be following the story closely. I'll be following it closely, and obviously hoping for all positive news.
God, it's a scary situation, but can you speak to the response and how that came?
You know what? I'll tell you what. The way it all happened, Rush was coming down our end of the ice. And you could tell because there's lots of noise coming from Dallas's bench. When I looked over, I saw Lindy Ruff standing up on the bench, looking behind him, screaming for a doctor. So I don't think anybody on our bench hesitated. I think we all tried to get a hold of the referees. The referees did a great job too. And I was amazed at the response of everyone involved. And again, I don't know who was involved, but you could see that everyone was moving, and it ended up with the right result. And I think there's a lesson out there for everyone, in every building, that we need to be prepared for really anything, because it's it does happen. And I think we look at these guys, and they it gets you to think a lot as a coach. You see these guys in the locker room, these players, and they're machines. They are. They're machines. They're the way they take care of themselves, the way they train, and these things can happen to them. And I was very impressed with the way that the people in Dallas responded to it. Very impressed.